pretty nice turnout with all of you guys here, and the title of the talk is Meeting Laziness on the Path. We're going to be exploring today this idea that one of the things we need to look at, understand, and ideally overcome is laziness on the path. The path is our path to spiritual growth and to awakening, and laziness is something that gets in our way. And what's interesting to me is that this idea of laziness on the path was an idea that Siddhartha Gautama Buddha taught. So it's not a new concept. I want to begin with a quote that I found from Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and it just made me laugh out loud when I read this, and hopefully it will do the same for you. He wrote, "In the garden of gentle sanity, may you be bombarded by coconuts of wakefulness." Can you get an image of that? So the Buddha described three kinds of laziness. He identified them as these: indolence, inferiority, and attachment to non-virtuous action. So that first one, indolence, is pretty easy to understand. The very word indolence means avoidance of activity or exertion. So yeah, that makes sense, right? That absolutely is a kind of laziness. We just don't feel like doing it, and so we don't. Pema Chodron actually words this kind of laziness a little bit differently than the Buddha. The Buddha called it indolence. She calls it, or refers to it, as comfort orientation. Say that with me, comfort orientation. But get this, she writes about a deeper, more subtle level of this comfort orientation. And she says this deeper, more subtle level of comfort orientation is based on our tendency to avoid any inconvenience. And then she also suggests what happens when we stay in that kind of way of being, where we're trying to orient our entire life always around comfort. Here's the example she gives, and it's very timely considering our weather the last couple of days. She says, at the first hint of heat, we turn on the air conditioner. At the first threat of cold, we turn up the heat. In this way, we lose touch with the texture of life. The point that she's making, I think, is a really important point. And that is that there are always changing situations in life. There are always things that will arise that are not to our preference or our liking. Whether it's weather or things breaking down, there's always the potential for something. And if we are addicted to orienting our life only toward that which is comfortable, then we begin to build up this energy and this frustration and this mindset and this attitude whenever there is an inconvenience. And what she is suggesting, and I think is a very valuable point, is that all of these things ought to be and can be an opportunity to practice spiritually, to practice the way we are going to be in relationship with those things that are inconvenient. And so while we may go punch that button for the air conditioner, what if before we punched that button for the air conditioner, we said, I'm going to choose not to be lazy right now. I'm going to choose for just a few moments to try to practice equanimity, to try to practice being in a state of poise and centeredness and peace, and then I will turn on the air conditioner. The other point she makes about the comfort orientation as being an aspect of laziness is that when we are so comfort oriented, that can very quickly and easily turn into aggression when things aren't the way that we want them to be. So the point is, pay attention when you notice that arising in you. The second kind of laziness that keeps us from moving forward more easily and more consistently in our spiritual growth and development is a laziness of inferiority.
Thanks for listening. Sunday services at 9 and 11 a.m. Inclusivity. It's worth the drive. Subscribe to our podcasts and download our free app for instant access to a wealth of spiritual teachings, services, and events.